Alright guys, hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Hummer cluster. And what I know so far is that this has kind of been a thorn in someone's side for a while. This was originally sent off to some cluster rebuilder on eBay, and they didn't fix it. I guess they held on to it for several months, and the owner had to get a little aggressive with them to get him to send it back. They didn't fix it. I see it's marked as non-repairable unit. Yeah, previously worked on by someone other than some other place. We don't need to say who that was, but yeah, the date on the stepper motor kit goes back to last year, so this has definitely been a problem for somebody for a long time. Let's see if we can fix it today. So the story is they sent it off someplace on eBay. It didn't get fixed, and they sent it back unrepairable. Let's see if it really is unrepairable or what's going on. Let me get this lens off here. Yeah, I'm already seeing the signs of, well, besides it halfway apart, but it's already got the pry marks. A little aggressive. Oh, and the lens face is already unclipped, which doesn't need to be done. And we got the normal scratches and stuff on there. So yeah, this has been around, tampered with, and messed with, and we got some stepper motors already removed. Light bulbs are missing. Blinkers missing. I see a pad is pulled off of the right blinker, which is was kind of a unfortunate waste, because usually there's no need to mess with the blinkers, and this is a low mileage vehicle, so he would have been better off not even touching that rather than ripping the pad off. Anyways, let's continue. Oh, we got some notes in the back here. Previous repair attempt unrepairable. Okay, so I see all the pads are missing on pretty much everything except the trans temp. So yeah, whoever attempted to fix this destroyed it. Now, well, they did a pretty dang good job at wrecking it by pulling every single pad except for those four. Yeah, thanks for saving those. So I don't see why we can't save it though. Another missing lamp pad. You see, it's aggravating because there's no reason to use a blowtorch to remove the lamps. They just break right off the original solder joint, so it can be fixed. Let's move on. All right. So looks like what we have here is a series of unfortunate events. Somebody tried to fix it, messed it up really good, sent it off to somebody else to fix it, and they sent it back as unrepaired. I'm not really gonna, I think this can be repaired, but here's the thing. I don't know why, if you're going to advertise a cluster repair service and be a professional, you need to be prepared to take on this kind of stuff where somebody tried to fix it and messed it all up. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's a matter of how many per week are you going to have to do. So that's why I'm a little baffled by a cluster repair shop that would send this back as unrepairable. I mean, I suppose from their point of view is it takes more time to fix this, and maybe they wanted to quote a higher price, or maybe they attempted to say, hey, it's going to cost extra. I don't know the details. It's just kind of baffling that they would claim this is unrepairable when it can be repaired. It's just going to take a little extra work and time. So the way I do it, I just price my services at a comfortable amount, so that way when I run into something like this that's going to take more time and effort to fix, I'm okay with it. So anyway, that's enough rambling. Let's start running some jumpers and reflowing some fractured solder joints, get some light bulbs back on this thing. Let's get a closer look. All right, I will show you the damages I see in the back. So RPM here, all 4 pads are missing. Speedometer, all 4 pads are gone. And you got your oil, temp, gas, battery, all the pads are missing. And for you people that are maybe newer at this, what I mean by missing pad is there's supposed to be a copper, it'd be a tinned copper pad that when the lead of the stepper motor sticks through these holes, there's something there for the solder to stick to. It's the conductive path that the electricity follows and makes its way through the board. Anyways, what normally happens is when people attempt to do this with maybe not the right tools or the right experience, they end up using between too much force and too much heat. They rip the pads off the board, and most of the times they don't even know they're doing it. They don't know that they ripped the pads off until it's too late. And then when they go to put the new stepper motors back in to replace the defective ones, they notice the solder's not sticking and nothing works. And then by then it's too late, damage is done, and it's all screwed up. So let's take a look at the front side. Yeah, here the right blinker pad has been pulled, and just one of the lamp locations here we have a missing pad. But other than that, it looks pretty good. I don't see any reason why it can't be saved. And let's power it up. Oops, lost my connector again. Okay. I am noticing some missing pixels. And it's only got 82,000 miles. So somewhere there must be some damage done to possibly one of these traces could have gotten torn or damaged in some way. Somewhere between this display and this driver chip there must be some sort of damage, or maybe a solder blob or something fell on it. I'm gonna have to look into that, but it kind of sucks that somebody had to, wreck a cluster with such low miles. But I think it can be saved. So let's continue. This is the right blinker location. I'm just scraping away some of the solder mask to get down to the copper trace. I'm just gonna tin this up and get it prepped for when I install the lamp. And this is the location for the fuel gauge lamp. And again, just scraping away some of the solder mask to get down to the copper, so I have a place to reattach the lamp leads to. The lamp locations have 2 extra pads that are not tied to anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and use one of those as an anchor spot for the lamp, since the original pad has been ripped off. And then here I just kind of have to clear that line. That's the edge of the stepper motor. I got to make sure to leave enough space so it can still sit flat. All right, so I believe I completed all of the needed jumpers to repair the missing foil. Before I go any further, I do want to do just a quick sweep check to make sure we're getting nice smooth movement out of the new stepper motors. Okay, that looks promising. Now I can move forward. So now next what I'm going to do is, since these stepper motors no longer have their original solder pads to help have that physical solder connection to the board to hold it tight to the board, I'm going to add a little bit of glue, a little bit of hot snot here through these pegs sticking through the board, just to give it a little bit of extra stability, just to make sure these stepper motors stay tight to the board, especially if in the future, if anybody ever has to remove the needles, that pulling up on the needle could actually pull up on the stepper motor and could damage these new jumpers I had to add. But we just want to make sure these stay tight to the board now. Now the nice thing with hot glue is, if in the future, if one of these stepper motors ever do need to be replaced, the hot glue can be removed without too much work. Now I can replace the lamps, get some bulbs back on this board. Now, somewhere along the lines, I'm guessing the eBay repair service, they actually already reflowed all the resistors. Well, I'd say 90% of the resistors that need to be reflowed. Maybe I'll touch up this guy here in the power supply for the VFD. Anyways, the soldering looks nice. In fact, they did such a good job, it's hard to tell that it's not factory. I maybe go a little bit heavier on the solder, but they did a pretty good job. I can see they even use flux too. It's all covered in the old flux, but that's okay. I'll give it a little alcohol bath later. A lot of people ask me, what is this clear fluid in the bottle that I use? And that's just rubbing alcohol to clean off any old flux. Depending on the flux used, some can be corrosive, so it's just a good habit to wash off the flux when you're done. Okay, now to replace this right-hand blinker that has been pulled off the board here with the missing pad. Now earlier I did scrape away some of the solder mask to get down to the copper, so we have something to solder to. Just gonna get a bulb prepped here. And another good thing, these extra pads off to the side of the light bulbs, these are not tied to anything, so we're free to go ahead and use those and do what we want with them. Those are also nice for adding resistors. If you ever use surface mount LEDs, it gives you a little anchor point. But I'm going to use this good pad that hasn't been molested, and I'm going to use it to help anchor this right-hand blinker down. And then I can use the lead of the light bulb here to go ahead and connect it up to the copper pad here. Come on, focus phone. There we go. Yeah, that should work. And here's the other one that had to be kind of clobbled together too, because that was another pulled one. Okay, now I'm going to run this thing through some checklists to make sure we are all good. First thing I'm looking for is any dim lighting, and all of the gauges are lit. We have a left blinker, we have a right blinker. Yes, I know this blinker flashes when I seat the needles. I see my connector's all worn out. It's been in and out of thousands of clusters by now, so it's got a little wear on it. Check engine light hasn't been goofed with, so that's good, that's working. And there's our left blinker again. The stepper motor start positions are where they need to be. We're dead on, and we are the needle width below on the RPM and mile per hour. And oil's good, battery's good. And I'm just checking the start positions. Temp is good, and gas is where it needs to be, just slightly below the dash mark. Let's run the tests on the needles, the gauges themselves. Alright, so we should get, it's got to wake up my signal generator here. There we go. So now we're checking the serial data gauges, and we have good movement out of all of those. Next, let's check RPM and mile per hour. Make sure they are responding and moving smoothly. Yes, they're also working good too. So we have all of our lighting back, all of our gauges back. We'll give the trip button another check once it's done. Well, right now it's upset with me because it thinks the engine has problems. I'll just do a quick reboot. Yeah, trip button is still good. All right, guys. This was pretty much done, and yeah, it was repairable. Just needed the usual jumpers done, which does take more time than the usual rebuild. But hey, we saved somebody a lot of money. These Hummer clusters are not cheap. So hey, thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.